got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry. And I quit my job for you, even quit some friends for you, 'cause you couldn't stand it, me all independent, so you had to have me for yourself. That was when I trusted you, when I could add up 2 and 2, when you promised we'd be together, you, me, forever. Now there's nothing left to lose. And though I understand it's hard sometimes to make up your mind in these trying times, yeah, I just can't accept you leaving me when I'm overseas with the heart so heavy. Think that I deserve the truth for once, not a guilty tone, 'cause you're not alone, yeah. You said you wanna come home, but I know you don't. So this time I won't hear it on the phone. If you got something to say to me, then say it to my face. What it's all about, why you're bailing out. Think you owe me an apology. Just say it to my face. You're sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. You're so sorry. Say it to my face. You're sorry.
The Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
Today is Thursday, January 6, 2022. It is day 66 of my political exile. I will tell you more about that momentarily, but I want to talk this morning about conspiracies and how easy it is for so many people to fall deeply into conspiracy theories. But the biggest irony of it all is that the conspiracy theories that they have you all believing in are so absurd at face value, but they prevent people from seeing the obvious that's staring them in the face. For example, the world famous or infamous Alex Jones wants you to believe that they're lizard people running the country and they are going to use the vaccine to do some kind of harm to you. Now, I won't specify that harm because YouTube's algorithm doesn't delineate between debunking conspiracies and real conspiracies. So I cannot debunk like the list of things that they say is in the vaccine that is detrimental because the algorithm would take me down. But it seems so ridiculous that in the face of nearly 1 million people in this country dead, they have us screaming about the mark of the beast. Meanwhile, right in front of our faces, we have people like Senator Rand Paul, who we have video evidence of him at the Benjamin Rush Society admitting that he has a MO of lying in order to get an advantage, cheating his way through medical school. Not only that, you have Senator Rand Paul, who now has said that, oh, well, I didn't realize, I did not file my disclosure that would have shown the American people that my family has investments in the pharmaceutical industry, in the treatment of COVID-19 specifically. Oh, there's a conspiracy afoot. It's right there in front of our faces. But instead of us seeing that there are people who are benefiting from the death and destruction being caused by COVID-19, they have us screaming. They have us screaming about lizard people and the mark of the beast. I need to make sure, is my microphone good today, David? I didn't even check it. I'm on the fly here in political exile. Yeah, for some reason it just got louder. I have brother Carl Mack, as always. I want to jump to my brother from a much taller mother, because if you see us in person, it's like the Malcolm and Martin picture. Brother Mac, where you saw Malcolm shaking hands with Martin, not that either one of us are either one of those guys, but the height differential is very similar. How you doing this morning, man? I'm always excited when you come around.
My brother, I'm cool in the gang, and good morning to you.
Good morning, man. I'm just over here pontificating about how we have a faction of our society, as well as our own community, the Black community, that chase after conspiracies. Meanwhile, we have the evidence right in front of us that we have people in political power who are benefiting from the chaos that they are creating. But yet they have us talking about some kind of mark of the beast being inside of the vaccine or some another. But the good news is that we are pressing through and still trying to make way towards higher vaccination rates and people getting the booster shot. But I just, what do you think about the foolishness of the conspiracy theories that are distracting us from the real stuff that's happening right in front of us?
So Ben, when I joined us, we all got together on Monday. Georgia asked us about, if we had seen the movie Don't Look Up.
Yeah.
And I think the focus for maybe you in Georgia was that the wealthy could now, use their resources and discover this new planet and that type of thing. That's not, and I took a look at the documentary or the movie, and that's not the slant that I saw. Literally, when you watch Don't Look Up, it is the only thing I could think about was this whole politicalization of the pandemic and the vaccination. Right. That's exactly everything that you just saw was the theme in Don't Look Up. You got these two scientists who are saying, here is an asteroid coming. And when the politicians and the wealthy didn't want to believe it or want to profit from it, they now went to their scientists, and their scientists said to them, yeah, there's a comet coming. and it's coming directly for Earth. And instead, all they spent their time doing was creating these conspiracy theories, first to say that the comet wasn't coming, then now to take the comet and say, let's talk about how we can now create jobs and do all these other things.
That's right.
And make more money. Well, who cares? The world is about to be destroyed. And so now, if you take the theme from that movie, that's how hilarious it is, and how much parallel runs with this situation with the pandemic. We are in a pandemic that in this country has killed over 800,000 people. There's no doubt about it. And yet you can have folks who will create conspiracy theories. And while so many of us, instead of looking at the science, we will ignore 800 and some odd thousand people who have died just in this country. We will ignore that on Monday, the very day that we were talking about this of this week, that the U.S. set a record for new COVID cases, topping over 1 million. We will ignore that even today, with the new Omicron virus, that we now lead the world in infections of that virus. We will ignore all science, all common sense. As ludicrous as the movie was, from that standpoint of
so real. It was so real.
It was absolutely a powerful example of exactly what is happening in the midst of this pandemic. And now, as we talk about our community, we got Black folks talking about, well, I don't know what's going in my body. Do you know what's going in your body when you go to Popeyes or churches?
Man,
tell you what, if you just took the common aspirin, do you really know what's going in your body? So that's how one's mind can be shifted. And it's just amazing to me, just as you can look at that and say, how could people accept a conspiracy theory when there's a comet coming towards the destruction of the entire planet? Well, how can people turn their backs and accept these conspiracy theories when you have seen 800 and some odd thousand, when you have heard scientists tell you, not only are we going to have to deal with COVID-19, but if we don't get a hold to this thing, it will mutate because that virus is trying to survive.
That's right.
And what have we seen? We've seen COVID-19, we've seen Delta, we've seen Omicron. And now I got to believe, if we're not careful, there's going to be another mutation.
I think there is another mutation.
Surprise.
Georgia's going to come in. Georgia Ford is going to come in momentarily, and we're going to discuss it. And I want to look at these notes because I don't want to. Something called the IHU. I'm not really good with the Greek alphabet variant, so we'll get more information on that. But exactly what you're saying is true, Brother Mac.
Yeah. Surprise. And again, I don't care about your opinion, my opinion. Our opinions don't really matter. When one can use science to say, look, here is the science of it. Now, you could believe it or not believe it, but here's the science. And when you choose not to believe it, okay. But then when that science yields the results of death, and you still want to cling to that, and you're trying to convince somebody, because most of us who have been vaccinated, we've basically grown tired of trying to have a conversation with those who choose not to.
Come on, man.
And so that says to me what I've always believed, that reason and stupid cannot have a conversation.
Come on. That's right. David, grab that clip of our mustached friend who said, you don't want to get the vaccine, then die. I mean, we're at this point now because and actually I think we're past that point, right? I think we're past the Rubicon. Omicron was 500 times more contagious than the Delta variant, but there's a trade-off. The more contagious, and this is so grateful that the more contagious this virus became, the less severe it appears the impact. That does not mean go out and get the variant, because our healthcare system has been overwhelmed since day one. And now you have hundreds of thousands of people every day contracting the Omicron variant. Some of them are going to the hospitals. And be honest with you, our system is collapsing underneath. The doctors are quitting. Nurses are quitting. Teachers are quitting. Trash is not getting picked up. I mean, I know we had a raggedy country before, but I mean, it's kind of looking like a shithole country right about now, Brother Mac.
But being the other part that is absolutely mind-boggling to me is when you hear, because now we're seeing that you've opened up the schools, even though to anybody with any logic, it just wouldn't make sense. And now you've opened the school at a time when you have a virus that is far more contagious than COVID. And now look at the fact of how many of our children is impacting. And so what was absolutely mind-boggling to me is that you had, I think I looked at a news footage where they had the head of Children's Hospital here in DC, and they were interviewing her. And they were talking about the parents who now have brought their children in, and these parents still hold to the position that, no, I'm still standing by my position of not getting vaccinated. Your child is in critical care, and you are still holding to that position. That has to be one of the most dumbfounding things. And I remember when we were on this show, and the governor of Florida some time ago was talking about opening up Florida. We ain't got to worry about masks. We are free. That's why people come here. We're free, we're free, we're free. Okay. And we looked at it and said, there is a strong possibility. Let's see what his position is when you start seeing children die. So we're talking about children who don't have the power to make a decision like that.
That's right. That's right.
And now they're dependent on us as adults or their parents to make that decision. And because of politics, you now want to take a position that would jeopardize your child. Because again, men lie, women lie. The numbers don't lie. When you look at the number of people today who are going into those hospitals, how many of those people have been fully vaccinated? How many of those people have been partially vaccinated? How many of those people have not been vaccinated at all? And by far, the numbers, the overwhelming number of people who are in hospitals have not received any form of vaccine.
That's right. That's right.
I'm not going to get the vaccine, then die. What do we do? Argue with you? I'm not on the debate team. This isn't mock trial. Aren't you worried about the side effects? I'm worried about the disease. Well, they're tracking you through the microchip. They're tracking you through the phone you're watching this on. Get the vaccine.
That's where we are. Right. And do me a favor, David, if you would get also the Drew Comments version of that, where, you know, the question of what's in the vaccine like that. Like you said, Brother Mac, don't ask us about what's in the vaccine when you don't know what's in that burger that you ate last night. OK, you don't know all the preservatives that are in that canned food that you got. You know, we don't know 99% of the stuff that we put in our body. Now, that doesn't mean for you not to go and do this dreaded phrase. I hate it. But yes, go and quote unquote do your research. But that doesn't mean go to YouTube. That means go to respectable sources. That means go to someone like Kizzmekia Corbett, right? The Black woman who's actually behind and developed the vaccine for, I believe, Pfizer, the Pfizer version. Mm-hmm. But it has inundated the Black community, and we are disproportionately being harmed by COVID-19 because of all of the previous conditions that we have found ourselves in this country, Brother Matt.
But Ben, not only that, but I still contend that so many in our community, because who started this whole idea that this virus wasn't a big deal, put all these other, don't worry about the vaccine. Go back to the Trump administration.
That's right.
And I'll go back to when Trump started saying, calling Hillary Clinton crooked Hillary. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm not saying she's no saint by any measure, but I tell you what, Hillary Clinton ain't Donald Trump. Okay. And you take a look, and because now so many of our people bought into the rhetoric of this fool that he now gets elected, and his impact of sitting in that Oval Office will be felt for decades because of the judges that he's appointed to Supreme Courts.
That's right.
The only thing good about negative 45 being in the Oval Office is that the veil has been pulled out over again in this country. And so now everybody is emboldened and coming out with their racism.
But
the harm that he has caused,
it's irreparable.
Even in putting that mindset into our community about questioning whether or not this vaccine, I understand the historical implications of what this country did to us medically, but we didn't have the rights that we have now, people who can speak truth to power and be the watchdogs for our community. There are too many of our people in positions to be watchdogs that we would sit back and allow any company to create some vaccine that is detrimental specifically to us. There's just no way that that's happening today. I don't believe, or I'll at least say this. I won't put it past that it could happen, but the likelihood of that happening,
right?
Don't compare. It does not compare to what the numbers are of those people who have died from this from COVID and weren't vaccinated. Those two are Mount Kilimanjaro and Bunker Hill. Come
on now. That's the word right there. That's the word, and that's the conspiracy. That's the false conspiracy red herring, right? They have you out here wondering and arguing over the vaccine. Meanwhile, Black families are being eradicated. They estimate somewhere about 60,000 Black children have lost their primary care provider, not their doctors. I'm talking about their parents. I'm talking about their grandmothers, the Medeas. They're dead, and these kids are now either with family or in the foster care system. And yet and still we have morons running around the country aligned with Robert Kennedy Jr. Trying to convince us that it is more detrimental to put the vaccine in us than it is for us to it doesn't really make sense when you look at the numbers, Brother Mac. It does not make any sense, but it's the conspiracy that nobody wants to see. Meanwhile, they're running out here talking about the mark of the beast.
And also, not only running around the country spewing this type of nonsense, but one could argue they're being very effective in our community.
That's right.
Because again, Ben, if you're talking about pre-existing conditions, you're talking about a historical systemic system or a historic system that has not afforded us the quality of health care. You can't compare the healthcare of the Black community to the healthcare of the white community.
You can't.
There's no comparison there. So now we got a less than stellar health system surrounding us. We got these pre-existing conditions, and now we want to buy into the conspiracy that somehow we don't understand every little thing that's going into our body. We want to buy into these conspiracies that they're trying to track us. And as the man with the mustache says, fool, they're tracking you on when you get that credit card that's got a chip, they're tracking you. You walking around with that cell phone and Apple says, I want to know what your location. Google says, I want to know your location.
That's right.
You use Google Maps. They know where you are. Ain't got nothing to do with them putting something in your body to now all of a sudden trace you. But see, that's why the logic behind these conspiracies make no sense, and it makes folks like you and myself tired. However, and the man with the mustache, he's tired. But the bottom line is we must continue to pound the table. But when it comes to a point, and I've had folks close to me who have had loved ones who died and still resist taking the vaccine. At that point, bro, you got to throw your damn hands up. And although you don't want to say it, you got to just go with the man in the mustache, right?
Yeah, no, that's where I am. And somebody, I have a little one walking in here, deboing our space here this morning. There's another conspiracy afoot that they don't want us to see. But I think the empire, and when I say empire, I'm referring to the American system that transcends both parties, right? I think the empire might actually have noticed how much of a threat white supremacy is. At least Attorney General Merrick Garland, in this clip that I want to play, he's breaking down the number of arrests, the number of subpoenas, the number of devices that they've seized, the number of video hours that they have watched as it pertains to January 6th. It looks like they might actually want to get to the bottom of this. Let's take a look at this clip.
Approximately 70 prosecutors from the District of Columbia and another 70 from other U.S. attorneys' offices and DOJ divisions have participated in this investigation. So far, we have issued over 5,000 subpoenas and search warrants, seized approximately 2,000 devices, poured through over 20,000 hours of video footage, and searched through an estimated 15 terabytes of data. We have received over 300,000 tips from ordinary citizens. In complex cases, initial charges are often less severe than later charged offenses. This is purposeful, as investigators methodically collect and sift through more evidence. By now, though, We have charged over 325 defendants with felonies, many for assaulting officers and many for corruptly obstructing or attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. 20 defendants charged with felonies have already pled guilty. Approximately 40 defendants have been charged with conspiracy to obstruct a congressional proceeding and or to obstruct law enforcement. In the months ahead, 17 defendants are already scheduled to go to trial for their role in felony conspiracies.
Now, I didn't hear any charges of treason, though.
And we should have. Now, Ben, let me add, when you talk about how deep this thing goes, and in light of January 6th, I couldn't help but pay attention, and I need to add this to it. And you can tell me if you think I'm being conspiratory, if I'm creating a conspiracy theory. But have you noticed what recently was announced with Republican Representative Devin Nunes?
No, I think I may have missed that.
Okay, so for those who don't know, so Devin Nunes is a Republican from California, and he's been representing California since 2003. He resigned as of January 1st of this year. He announced his resignation. But here's what I want you to understand about Devin Nunes. He was a strong supporter of Donald Trump. He was chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. So he led the Republican Party in their attack to absolutely discredit the FBI's probe Russia investigation, in which they talked about the association of Donald Trump and Russia.
Yes.
So he led that attack by the Republican Party. When Robert Mueller's probe started, he led the attack against that. When the impeachment charges came against Donald Trump, he led the attack.
Okay, I know who you're talking. Yes, him. I got you.
And then what did Trump do? Trump awards this fool the 2021 Medal of Freedom. What else did Trump do? Nunes now says, I'm resigning because Trump just hired me as the CEO of Trump Media and Technology Group.
Okay, I know. Okay, Devin Nunes. That's okay. Gotcha. He has been that man has been. Well, actually, you just went down the list of receipts. He's been the bane of the American democratic experiment since he ever got into office and into power. I did not know, however, that he was going to head up. I mean, that moron.
No, Ben.
He going to head up the social media company?
No, not head it up. Trump hires him. So look at this.
Yeah.
See, so every time, I mean, when you go through Negative 45's history, look at the assorted characters that this guy has associated himself with. Look at the type of people he's associated himself with. And
there
when
he
these
is.
people have been in power, what they just said to you is, don't look up because the comment ain't real. Meanwhile, you got these people who claim to be red-blooded Americans, love this country and its history, and love the fact that we are a free nation of democracy. And yet, these people have participated, because January 6th will forever, as far as I'm concerned, be known as Insurrection Day.
And then with that note, let's go to a quick break. When we come back, Georgia Ford is going to join us for On the Clock. January 6th should forever, from this point forward and forevermore, be known as Insurrection Day. We'll be back with more of the Benjamin Dixon Show. I can't even say my own show name. It's the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show right after this.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Get your coffee, your tea, your drinks, whatever it is you need to get the morning started. It's your boy James Williams. DJ Exclusive is in the building. Good morning, everybody.
Come on. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock for me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock for me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock for me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide got you right ways. I love the way that you be twirling to the
Good
bass.
morning, y'all.
Moving sideways on a Friday. DJ playing all of your favorites. I'm digging your flavor.
Welcome again to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, y'all. Good morning to y'all.
Let this be real inside. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Hey, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on. Yeah, slide to the left, slide to the right. Rock with me, baby, we can do this all night. Slide to the left, slide to the right. Come on, come on, come on.
I got tons of soul on my true collectible. Famous, also famous, number one desirable. I do what I want when I want and how I want it.
All right, shout out to everybody that's in the chat room. I see good morning to you. Really right, Dragon Daddy, what's going on? Ryan in this room. Mark X, good morning, brother. Laverne, what's going on? Roller Dragon and shit. Brendan Johnson. How good morning. Who word on my shoulder? Good morning to you. Quick, yes, sir. Buddy, what's going on? Brother Chuck Beasley, shout out to Brother Chuck Beasley, man. KFC. What's going on, brother? Yeah, my Super Dragon, Brother Latif, good morning. Afraid not. Kareem Ransom, Brendan Johnson, Iris Jones, Alicia, good morning. Sunshine, Dragon, good morning to you. Yeah, F. Broken G-Man, what's going on, G? Tyler Hackman, Simpson, Tabula Answer, good morning, Mother Beginning. Simpson, good morning, y'all. Miss C. Beasley. Shout out to everybody, good morning, y'all. On and on it goes, good morning. Yeah, hustler. What's going on? All the MTV. Good morning. Shout out to Tiger who finally made it home after being kept at his wife's job this Monday afternoon. Yeah, that's a long time, man. Mr. Lynn, good morning to you. Good morning to you. Happy New Year as well to you.
Baby, you set my soul on fire every morning and every evening. Ooh. And maybe we can't get any higher, but if you like to take a ride, we can discover what we're hiding. Making you move, it sure looks good. Playing it cool like you know you should. Gonna smile, that's one of a kind. And I can't get you off my mind. Yeah. I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm flying so high, I don't see the ground. I'm running too hot, I need to cool me down. I'm
All right,
flying so high, I don't see
y'all,
the
welcome back to the
ground.
Okay, well, welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Show. It is Thursday, January 6th, and we are going to be talking with Rebecca Azor coming up at the 9 o'clock hour, 9:30. Specifically, we're going to be talking about New York Mayor Eric Adams and his complete and casual disregard for workers and for the well-being of everyone in the city of New York. We'll be talking about that coming up at Like It or Not. But first, we're on the clock with investigative journalist Georgia Ford.
Good morning. I know so many people are still trying to get back into the routine after the holidays. But unfortunately, what we're finding is because so many people let their guard down over the holidays and decided to be with family and completely ignore the fact that we are still in the middle of the pandemic, we are beginning to see some of the worst COVID numbers throughout the entire pandemic so far. There were about 1 million cases confirmed just within this week. New cases, of course, we're all familiar with the new variant. And so, Ben and Dr. Mack, we have continuously covered this pandemic, especially in the terms of how the African American community has been impacted. But through this new surge, I'll be curious to see exactly how our communities impacted and how we bounce back from it, quite frankly.
Well, Georgia, the thing that's that we should all be concerned about is that this new variant is far more contagious than any of the previous strands of COVID-19. And so at this point, basically any one of us can become a super spreader. So, and being now to speak of, how it's impacted our community, I think most of us would agree that Atlanta is a primarily Black city, right? Yeah. DC has been known as the chocolate city. Now in Atlanta, if I'm not mistaken, your newly elected mayor had a celebration party for his victory. It was at that party that your newly elected mayor found out that he was diagnosed with having COVID. And then many of the folks who went to that party subsequently caught the new COVID strand. And I know that for a fact because one of my friends was supposed to go down and meet with one of the individuals who attended that celebration, only to find out that he got COVID from that party. The mayor, the newly elected mayor, got COVID, and now he goes home, and now his whole family was diagnosed with COVID. Here in DC has become a hotspot for the new variant. I said earlier, in Prince George's County, they have now closed down schools because so many children have come down. And the schools that I'm particularly aware of are schools that are highly attended by African-American children. Those schools have now closed down. They've gone back to virtual learning. Now you got down in Charles County, where my ex-wife lives and my son goes to school. His school in that county has closed down because this new strand has become so incredibly contagious. So what concerns me is that because this new strand is so far more contagious than any other strand, the ability for us to now let our guards down, Georgia, as you stated, just imagine every time you look at one of these sporting events and you see all these folks in the stands, anytime you look at all of these gatherings, as you talked about, Georgia, now the holidays, we get together with family, we're coming in from all over the place. Each of us now has the ability to become super spreaders of this. And then what happens when we have now spread this, even to those of us who are vaccinated, and now this thing begins to mutate in a way that it can even survive that previous vaccine? I just dread thinking about the possibilities of what could potentially happen.
Well, and I think of our children often, and we really, really discouraged kids going back to school, but it seemed like we couldn't prevent it because there just wasn't enough resources to provide to parents for alternatives. We talked about having bubbles or online school, having mentors and tutors. But most parents across America sent their kids back to school. And not only now are our children getting sick, but the teachers are getting sick. And so then the question here is, okay, who is going to run the classrooms if the teachers are out sick? If the administrators are out sick? I think in some states and some cities, we saw military being deployed to drive school buses. And so they're continuing to try to keep business as usual despite the casualties, despite children and teachers getting sick. I want, as we continue this conversation, I want to take a listen quick to the president of the United Federation of Teachers. I believe we have this clip on file. The United Federation president of teachers talking about the impact
How many
of COVID in the
teachers in
classroom.
your union are out sick today? And if you could characterize that in terms of percentage.
At this moment, we don't have a final number. Each school is reporting in, but in the metropolitan area, what we saw over the holidays, most of the industries had somewhere between 20 and 30% absenteeism due to positive COVID. So we're assuming we're going to be somewhere in that percentage between 20 and 30.
My goodness.
And see, Georgia, think about that now. I think it showed that he was in New York. So now just think about the whole New York Eve celebration, right? Just think about that. And what was the likelihood of super spreaders coming out of that and now dispersing throughout the place? But here's the question I'd like for both of you to kind of look into. See, the statement is, if you don't do it right the first time, it's going to cost you twice as much to go back and correct it.
That's right.
Tell me, if everybody that's saying we're so sick of this pandemic, we're sick of being shut in, what do you think would have happened, hypothetically, if all of us, every American had taken the vaccine, fully dosed vaccine? Where do you think we would be today in regards to this pandemic?
Not where we are.
Yeah. We'd be getting ready for Mardi Gras, right? We could be getting ready for all the holidays and celebrations that come in the spring, in the winter and the spring. Brother Mac, I'm listening to you and I'm just thinking about the fact that this country has, and good morning again, Sister Ford. This country is playing a really dangerous game of chicken with us. And they are seeing how far to the brink can they press the system without having to hit the abort button. Because I hear you say, what if everyone had taken the vaccine? Surely we'd be in a much better place. But what if everyone had sheltered in place at the beginning of this, right? What if everyone had just sheltered in place for 2 months, just 3 months? The thing is that if we had done that, there's a lot of rich people who would have lost a lot of money. And America is running a game of chicken with us right now, saying, how far can we push this system and without breaking the profits of the people who really run this country?
And being, so Sister Georgia, you introduced to me the idea of the movie Don't Look Up. Being everything that you just said, if you go back and look at the movie Don't Look Up, and instead of viewing the asteroid coming towards Earth, just think about COVID-19 coming, and we have the vaccination, and all the scientists are trying to warn us, but we won't look up. And then you got one faction saying, look up, and you got another faction saying, don't look up, don't look up, in the face of all the science. And by the time everybody looks up, well,
it's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late.
It's too late. Yeah, that movie is brilliant in so many ways. And I saw somebody posted, Ben, I don't know if it was you or somebody else, but that the way the media is depicted in the film is incompetent. And so it's not a surprise that the media has been giving the movie poor reviews. However, I think I'm on the other side of that. I think the film is brilliant, and it allows us a chance to take a look at our society through a different lens. And in so many ways, we need to do that because we are polarized on so many issues, right? And in the movie, it's about looking up or don't look up, but that's parallel to our political scene. That's parallel to what we're dealing with COVID. That's parallel to what we're dealing with on issues of policing, is that we're polarized. It's this or that, and there's no gray area. People don't want to meet in the middle or hear each other out or compromise. And unless we either really start to grasp what the truth is and lean into the truth of these issues, or we do start to compromise, I'm seriously concerned about the health of our nation as well as our democracy.
Oh, without a doubt, I honestly believe we're dealing with the continuity of civilization here, right? You got to, Brother Mac, from a historical perspective, after the fall of the Roman Empire, there was about 500 years of darkness, the Dark Ages, right? Albert Einstein basically said that, and I'm going to horribly paraphrase him here, but he said, I don't know how World War III would be fought, but I know World War IV would be fought with sticks and stones, because we will be thrown into dark ages. And we're dealing with that not only in terms of the war temperament of this society, but of America in general, but with the refusal to pay attention to climate change. It's like, pick your disaster. Of course, if an asteroid came, this is exactly how I expect America to act, like this movie. So it's all the above. And one last thing, I do believe, David, we're reaching out. We've had the writer, one of the writers of the show. We've had him on our show, I believe, twice, and we're going to try to have him back, because I'm with you guys. I think all the people who are having negative reviews of it, I don't see the negative reviews. I see a brilliant piece of work here.
Well, I think when again, if anybody out there who hasn't looked at the movie, or if you go back and look at the movie, as you watch the movie, just try to place, in this case, just place the pandemic in place of the comet, right? And look at the movie, and the parallels are absolutely brilliant. Now, Brother Ben, you talked about the fall of the Roman Empire and the possibility of something like that happening with America. See, part of why the Roman Empire fell is because they were so arrogant to believe that it was impossible for them to fail.
That's right.
And there's a reason why today people still study the rise and fall of the Roman Empire. Here are some of the symptoms of what led to their downgrade: corrupt politicians,
Well,
a degradation of education, highly expensive money, a vast amount of money going into the military, decays in urban areas. These are just 4 of the things, and I think there were about 8 that they list. But these are the things that led to the fall of the Roman Empire. Now, if you take that and look at America, how much money does America spend on its military in comparison? A fall, the degradation of the health system. So take a look at America. We see the degradation of the health system. We see how much money we spend on the military, how little money we spend on education. And at the top of that list, we see corruption in politics running rampant. These are things that ultimately led to the decline of the mighty, mighty Roman Empire. And if America thinks that it is above that type of behavior, given that it has the exact same symptoms, trust and believe that is an arrogance that will soon lead to our downfall. And that's one of the reasons we study issues like, we study history, and in this case, the fall of the Roman Empire. Just as a little history lesson, my bad.
No, that's exactly what I'm feeling in Georgia. On the opposite side of this, we're also taking a look at January 6th. We were just beginning that conversation. The investigation seems to be going deep, but the investigation is not going all the way to the point of treason. We just played the clip from Attorney General Merrick Garland, and I want to play it again because honestly, while I do feel that the American empire is paying attention, I think the American empire is in a bad position because it can't prosecute itself. It cannot prosecute itself. It's not willing to prosecute itself. So I want us to listen to this clip again from Merrick Garland, and I want you all to hear how far they're willing to go, but notice that they don't charge anyone with treason. Let's take a listen.
Approximately 70 prosecutors from the District of Columbia and another 70 from other U.S. attorneys' offices and DOJ divisions have participated in this investigation. So far, we have issued over 5,000 subpoenas and search warrants, seized approximately 2,000 devices, poured through over 20,000 hours of video footage, and searched through an estimated 15 terabytes of data. We have received over 300,000 tips from ordinary citizens. In complex cases, Initial charges are often less severe than later charged offenses. This is purposeful, as investigators methodically collect and sift through more evidence. By now, though, we have charged over 325 defendants with felonies, many for assaulting officers, and many for corruptly obstructing or attempting to obstruct an official proceeding. 20 defendants charged with felonies have already pled guilty. Approximately 40 defendants have been charged with conspiracy to obstruct a congressional proceeding and or to obstruct law enforcement. In the months ahead, 17 defendants are already scheduled to go to trial for their role in felony conspiracies.
Now, Georgia, you've covered so many stories of police violence and murder of Black people. And you see how the system responds to us when we respond with protest. I just don't think that we'd get away that easily. Now, and forgive me, I know a lot of people are saying, well, what else do you want him to do? I do believe that this is thorough, but they ain't charging nobody with treason. I don't think the people who are doing it are actually the people behind it are gonna learn their lesson. That's my take. What are you thinking?
Listen, 321 people charged with felonies. 300 out of thousands of people who stormed our Capitol and tried to overthrow the government. Listen, I covered a protest here in Minneapolis where 646 people were arrested on the spot. They didn't even have 646 handcuffs available. And they figured out a way to book and process that many people, including children. So it's frustrating to see this type of crime take place, this type of violation against our country, and that it just feels like they're slapping people on the wrist, even if they're giving them felony level charges. Only 20 of them have pled guilty. The rest of them are going to try to lawyer up, and they're going to try to fight the charges. Likely, most of them will get brought down to misdemeanor. And so, but when you compare and contrast that, the incident I talked about with 646 protesters being arrested on site on the highway, that's just one incident. When you tally up the number of people who were arrested from the time George Floyd was murdered all the way up until now, you're well over 1,000. So how are you looking at that, where people are standing up for humanity, not storming the Capitol? And I'm not saying that all of them were peaceful. We know that. But you throw the book at them. You give them the hammer. And then you have people who are attacking our nation's capital. It's supposed to be the most sacred place, in our government. And yet, it just feels like they're getting off easy, and to me, it just shows that this country systematically continues to uphold white supremacy, and that's the way that it's designed. So none of us are really surprised, but I think, especially as today is the 1-year anniversary, when we look at January 6th, it is a moment in modern day history that we can point to and say nothing much has really changed in so many ways.
And so, Sister Ford, let me add this. And Ben, you said, you brought up treason, and you said America can't hold itself like that. Well, just imagine if your body is diseased. Let's call it your left arm. Would you cut your arm off to save the rest of you, to save your life? Most people would, right? You'd do that. But see, here's America. America has a history of protecting this, especially those in power. I want to take both of you back to 2005. Does the name Scooter Libby ring a bell to you? Now, for those of us who may not know about Scooter Libby was the chief of staff for Vice President Dick Cheney. Scooter Libby did the unthinkable. He outed a CIA agent by the name of Valerie Wilson. He outed her, exposed her. in every shape, form, or fashion in this cradle we call democracy in America. That is a treasonous act. The man was never, ever held accountable and charged with treason. It is a treasonous act. So these people have a way of protecting themselves. And in that Trump administration, just like what we talked about earlier, Ben, where you got Nunes, who is over the House Intelligence Committee, protected Trump. And the FBI, supposedly, if this is the greatest nation in the world, I don't know, you know, is one reason why you consider yourself the greatest nation of the world is because you got one of the greatest militaries in the world. You got one of the greatest enforcement mechanisms in the world. And the Federal Bureau of Investigations, at the height of all that, it now says that we got evidence that Trump was involved with Russia behind the election. You got Mueller, who is an absolutely incredible attorney who comes in and does this probe. And you got this guy protecting Trump all the way through. And now that he resigns, and what does Trump do on the way out? He gives him the Medal of Freedom. And now Trump says, hey, I just want to thank you for protecting me. So I'm going to hire you as the CEO of media and technology. You know, you're sitting there looking at this is the way America plays. She's been playing this way from day one. And here's yet another example of it. Because at this point, the cradle of democracy, America wants to pride itself that every election we can have a peaceful exchange of power. And Negative 45 and his contingent decided, no, we're no longer going to have a peaceful exchange of power. We are going to lead an insurrection. And nobody is held to the highest standard of treason. So to your point, Georgia, trust and believe. If they had thrown the book at all who were involved in this type of situation, there'd be a serious message sent to all Americans. We are going to abide by the philosophy of democracy. Instead, they play with it.
They play with it.
The bite.
They play with it. And I again, the investigation seems to be rigorous, but compared to what they do to black folks, it's a slap on the wrist so far.
That's right.
Georgia, can you hang out for a few minutes as we cross this half-hour mark? Because I want to get you to your take on this clip from Morning Joe. In Chicago, teachers have voted to go to remote learning, and Morning Joe, who, by the way, if you look at this clip from Morning Joe, we're all going to see exactly who Don't Look Up is referring to in terms of that Tyler Perry set. Morning Joe is exactly who they're talking about. And in this clip, he's insulting teachers who decided to go home, if I'm reading the notes correctly. But before we do all that, hey, Google, what happened today in Black history?
I'm not sure she heard you, but let me help you. Hey, Google, what happened today in Black history?
As a newly qualified teacher, educator, and labor leader, Elizabeth Duncan Kuntz was fired from her first job when she discovered the school's principal was overcharging staff members at a school-owned boarding house. She organized the teachers in a revolt against the system. On July 6, 1968, she became the first Black woman elected president of the National Education Association, the largest labor union in the United States. In 1969, President Richard Nixon appointed her director of the United States Department of Labor Women's Bureau, thus making her the first Black director of the Bureau. Kuntz passed away on January 6, 1989. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4 calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Karl Mack.
Love that. Love that. Love that. Stick around for more on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show.
Hey.
That was funny.
Tell me what it is.
All right, y'all. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Like it or not, it's starting up next here on the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Lord, good morning.
Don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw salt, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy. They said you gotta be about it. So I be trying to.
Hollywood, good morning to you. Shout out, brother Chuck Diesel out there playing them trolls this morning. We talking real records. That's okay. We talk records back now.
On the interstate in traffic, but I swerve out. What's the moves for the night? What's the word now? What's the link to me up? We could
the Pioneer, good morning to you.
She got hella features. Give me hella
Northern you, good morning.
Shisha, reefer on me loud. Hope them boys don't creep up. I don't know a thing if you do not speak up.
Juanita, good morning. Man Shovel, what's going on?
Like I ain't what you want. I ain't here to stun. Let me take you out for lunch. I'ma get you drunk, yeah, feeling on your buns. Licks in the blunt. I got ash in my
good morning, Miss Sophia. I don't give a Marcerise, good morning.
Girl, you the one I
Mark
want.
S, I was getting to you, y'all. Real quick, had to drop the music out. Shout out to Mark S in the chat room who turns at 80,000 today. Happy birthday, Mark S, man. Y'all send the brother some love. Happy birthday, Mark.
Fire. She got me feeling higher than a sour. So I'm trying to feel high.
Good morning.
I asked her what she doing, she like nada. So she just chillin', about to get up in the shower. I said, alright, cool, I'ma be there in an hour. I just wanna live like a coon and Matata.
Good morning.
I ain't got no time for no baby mama drama. All about my comments, my letters, no tomatoes. Always bragging what they got up in their wallet. Ain't no really telling if we let her see tomorrow. Get it on my own, I ain't really tryna ball. So I stay fly, gotta dress up in designer.
Anna Loom, good morning to you. Anytime, Brother Mark, anytime.
Tell me what it is. What you want from me? What you want from me? Tell me what it is, don't tell me what it ain't. They try to throw salt, it just made the pressure raise. Going through a phase, gotta get myself out it. Don't talk about it, boy, they said you gotta be about it. So I be trying to face the world head on. Front seat riding, cruising down the meadows. Pedal to the meadow, cool breeze blowing down the windows. Calm trees, blowing trees, get that boy some headroom.
Boondocks Dragon, good morning to you. Kelly Low Game, good morning.
Just give it up. I'm not your girl and I never will be. Don't call me up. Don't waste your time.
One Lost Spirit, good morning, brother. Happy New Year to you.
Look somewhere else, heal for nothing. Just give it up.
Good morning, Mom and Daddy. I know y'all watching somewhere. Good morning. Good morning, Q.
Don't get me wrong. You and I could have fun together when I feel done with having fun on my own. It's better to care for yourself, not rely on somebody else. So don't get me wrong, I'm just riding alone. Just walk away, 'cause I got no intentions of hanging out with you tonight. Don't look my way. If you want a problem, I'll give you a problem, alright? If you want love, just give it up. You got the wrong girl. You got the wrong, you got the wrong, you got the wrong girl, girl. You got the wrong, you got the wrong, you got the wrong girl, girl. This is my time. I'm feeling good, rule every party. See how I shine when I'm alone. Nothing can stop me. You should go out, meet someone else, someone who gets you. Don't stick around.
All right, then you better hurry up. The song coming up there.
Don't get me wrong. You and I could have fun together when I feel done.
Elizabeth Barber, good morning.
It's better to care for yourself, not rely on somebody else. So don't get me wrong, I'm just riding alone. Just walk away, 'cause I got no intentions of hanging out with you tonight. Don't look my way. If you want a problem, I'll give you a problem, alright? If you want love, just give it up. You got the wrong girl. You got the
Benjamin Dixon Show is only possible with listener support. Go to www.patreon.com/The BPD Show.
It is Insurrection Day, January 6, 2022. Welcome back to the Benjamin Dixon Morning Show. I'm joined by investigative journalist Georgia Fort and Dr. Carl Mack. He doesn't consider himself to be a historian, but he is certainly our historian. And you see on your screen images from the movie Don't Look Up on Netflix. We've all seen it and we've been talking about it. And hopefully later on next week, we'll be able to speak with one of the writers, David Sirota, who's been on the show several times. He was one of the masterminds behind this piece of work. I want to play a clip of Morning Joe, and I want you to just take a look at the set. I just want people to see how, maybe this clip of Morning Joe is talking about the very people, or rather the movie is talking about the very people that you're going to see in this clip as it pertains to the real comet that is hitting our planet right now, this country. Don't look up. Think about the pandemic. And now listen to Morning Joe Scarborough, as he discusses the fact that teachers want to work from home during the Omicron variant. Let's take a listen in.
If you don't want to teach, don't teach. Yeah. Quit. Just stay at home and stop teaching children, okay? Because when you set up that barrier to getting back to class, when healthcare officials say that you can still be testing positive 30 days after, well, you obviously, if that's your standard, you're either ignorant when it comes to science, or you just don't want to be in classes. And if you don't want to be in classes, that's fine. Listen, thank you for your service to our children. Now go get another job.
So in response to the union.
All right. So specifically, they're talking about the teachers union there in Chicago that organize a virtual strike or walkout. But ultimately, they're trying to get the ability to teach from home during a plague, during the Omicron variant that's 500 times more contagious. Sister Ford, I want to come to you first as a mother, as a professional, to have this man. Well, you know what? I'm not even going to set it up. What are your thoughts?
I mean, to insult people who are simply trying to protect not only themselves, but also our children.
That's right.
It's another level of ignorance. But again, not surprised. And it's people like Joe who perpetuate the polarization that this country is currently facing. There's nothing wrong with teachers deciding to say, listen, I don't want to get sick. I don't want my family to get sick. I don't want your families to get sick, because what are you going to do, Joe, when you send your kid to school and they come back with coronavirus and then you have it, you know? And you have no idea until you actually go through the process of being a large family. And if one person gets it and then they get over it, 7-10 days later, another person in the family gets it. One household could be dealing with coronavirus for more than 30 days. And so while the science may not recommend that you take 30 days, there are some large households that need 30 days for that thing to circle through before everybody is clear from being on quarantine.
That's right.
And so it's just frustrating. And it's frustrating to see that our teachers, our educators who before this pandemic, let's be clear, were already underpaid and overworked, are now having to face the criticism from people like Joe. And he's not the only one, right? He's not the only one who are coming for teachers. But we just heard from the United Federation president for teachers, who said that about 30% of teachers are out sick right now. So who's sitting in for them? Who's sitting in for these teachers? And why not be more lenient and just let them work virtually, remote, like we did it last year? The technical infrastructure is set up for that. It's just that most Americans don't want to be inconvenienced with having their kids be at home, and then what that means for their own work schedules. And that now all of a sudden they have to play the cafeteria lady or the cafeteria man.
That's right.
And so it's time that America set aside this idea that everything should be fast, quick, and convenient, and start really looking at what is the end, where's the finish line on this pandemic? If we want to get over this pandemic and we don't want to be dealing with a new variant next year at this time, then maybe we should look at transferring things over and doing virtual learning.
Brother Mac, I want you to get in there, but someone noted in the chat room that Joe Scarborough himself may be working remotely, and I can tell you he is, because he's in front of a green screen. I've been doing this long enough to let you know he's in front of a green screen, and MSNBC don't have anybody there that's not masked and fully vaxxed. He probably has a camera set up in his home. The setup he got could be done from his home, Brother Mac.
Which is exactly where my statement is. The hypocrisy of it all is, what is Joe Scarborough making in comparison? As Sister Fort said, these teachers who are severely underpaid, they're not just underpaid, they're severely underpaid. If indeed our most precious commodity is our children, then one would think that you would spend an exorbitant amount of money to place those qualified teachers, those very good teachers, in front of our most precious commodity to ensure that they get a good education. And instead, as we talked about earlier, our educational system is completely underfunded. And even within that educational system, the top end who are getting all the money are the principals and the assistant principals, all the administrators. But now when we talk about the hypocrisy, and as you so highlighted, Brother Ben, that Joe Scarborough is now sitting in front of a green screen. Instead of talking about the people who are underpaid, why don't you look in the mirror and talk about the people in your profession? What did Seth Meyers and Jimmy Fallon do? What happened with those brothers? See, they both came down with COVID. And when they came down with COVID, do you think that they had the place packed? Do you think that they still came out and did, quote, their job? Oh, no. Oh, no. They took a side from that. So who is he to now mandate at what level somebody ought to risk their life and the lives of their loved ones in regards to their, quote, profession? The hypocrisy, the ideology that he just espoused clearly shows you how those with resources think. Joe Scarborough, look up, player, look up.
Well, he's going to be on the ship, whatever ship they build to get off of whatever bubbles they have built, because they have bubbles. These people are not living life like, even they're hypocritical. Joe Scarborough is working remote. And that they are going to their parties. They're still having their parties, and they know everybody comes through that door has to be tested. There was a party in Martha's Vineyard where everyone had to have a 2-week quarantine and then get tested before you could come to the party. Right? Imagine having enough resources do some shit like that. Excuse me, Mom. Sorry. To do some stuff like that.
That's right.
And then turn around and tell a teacher whose light might be cut off, because teachers live paycheck to paycheck in this country. You got the nerve, Joe Scarborough, with your hair nicely coiffed or whatever, looking like he just woke up and put a little mousse in it, to tell teachers that they don't know science and that they should just quit. And when his kids aren't even going to a public school, his kids probably have private tutors who come to his bubble and do whatever they need done.
See, his conversation would have been more apt if he had taken the position of, again, when we had a chance to get this pandemic, to get this virus under control, and we didn't, because you had so many anti-vaxxers. Let me hear him go after Kennedy as an anti-vaxxer. Let me hear him go after the Trump administration for their soup sandwich handling of this situation that has now brought us into, going into a second year of this. Point that. But see, when you point at those people, do you really want to point at the Kennedy Scarborough? No, because they got the resources to come after you. Do you really want to go after Trump? No, you're afraid to do that. So the people in power that you could have gone after, no, don't choose to go after them. You're nothing more than a bullet, player.
You know,
It's going to come after those people that don't have the resources that you have.
what really frustrates me is it's like the same group of people who will sit here and tell these teachers to just quit are the same type of people who don't want to be told to wear a mask, who don't want to be told to get vaccinated.
Yes.
You know, and so you don't want nobody telling you what to do, but here you are telling teachers that they should just quit because they want to do virtual learning.
But Georgia, even to that point that we talked about, when we talked about the systemic destruction or the systemic forces that our community has to face, we already know that public education in this country is nowhere near as effective and good as it could be. Now try to put a measurement on public education. If the teachers who we do have in there, if 20 or 30% of them quit, that harkens me back to the beginning of this school year, when my son is supposed to be in a school that's supposed to be okay, taking geometry. And I find out for the first quarter, they don't even have a geometry teacher.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I could personally vouch for that. And one thing I know the three of us talk about offline is the education of our children in not only during this pandemic, but in this empire in the first place. Because, it's really questionable about whether or not America should be educating the children of the survivors of slavery. But I digress. The thing that we all recognize in this story is how easily they play these games with our lives and with the lives of our children. More importantly, the lives of our children. And you simply cannot look at this and think of anything other than the fact that they are willing to sacrifice not only their children, but of course, if they're going to sacrifice their children, they will sacrifice our children.
But being in this case, Scarborough has the resources to ensure that if he has children,
going somewhere private,
he has the resources to ensure that his children are going to be safe while they receive a Class A education.
That's right. But the problem is that, and you're absolutely right. Here's the rub. The empire is run by the people, particularly Black people. And in this next clip, Governor Larry Hogan, he's talking about COVID cases are overwhelming hospitals. It's overwhelming hospitals when all of the nurses and the RNs and all of the CP, all of the people who make your healthcare system work, they're just normal people. Take a look at this clip.
Today, Maryland hit a record high of 3,057 COVID hospitalizations, which is an increase of more than 500% in the last 7 weeks, and which is now overwhelming normal operations at hospitals.
Listen, they were not prepared. The American empire was not prepared to protect us from the pandemic. It's not prepared to protect us from the coup that's happening on January 6th, Brother Mac, Insurrection Day. Absolutely. That's the name of today. And in the first place, I'm not sure that they should be educating our kids to begin with, Brother Mac. The reason we talk about our family and our kids' education offline so much is because of exactly what you said. Your son, I went the long way around, but your son went almost the first semester without a geometry teacher. As a teacher myself, I can tell you, when I was the only math teacher at this predominantly Black high school, I had to teach basically the whole high school because they didn't have teachers. They didn't have Black teachers, let alone, Black male teachers. And so that is an epidemic that is plaguing our country, and it's plaguing it at every economic strata of the Black community. Because from what they tell me, all my friends from Hampton tell me that Prince George's is the place to be.
No, then your friends are telling you wrong. Trust and believe that. And I'm gonna say that again. And I hope your friends are watching. Your friends are telling you wrong when it applies to education. Your friends are telling you wrong when it applies to how high property taxes are and what our streets look like. Your friends are absolutely telling you wrong. Now, I never saw that clip from Governor Hogan, but Governor Hogan is the governor of the state of Maryland. Everything that I've been telling you is what I firsthand know. And all the governor did was simply said to you, what Brother Mac is telling you is absolutely correct. My son comes home and tells me, Dad, in the class today, there were only 5 of us. I said, what happened to all your other classmates? They were out with COVID. And shortly thereafter, now the county announces, not only in Charles County, but in Prince George's County, they announced that they're going back to virtual learning. You go look at the spike of COVID cases in this country, I mean, in this nation's capital, in Washington, D.C., it is a hotbed. So trust and believe that what is happening, because we failed to pay attention, we did not look up. And thank you so much, sister, for putting that movie on my radar. And again, when I watched it, all I could see was the incredible parallel between the pandemic and the comet.
Yeah.
And the comet was destructive. This pandemic, destructive. And now you got people who want to put out these false narratives, or narratives that would only benefit them, to try to say to us why it's not that big of a deal. Well, we'll find out. Or better yet, we are finding out. Not we will find out. We are finding out. You cannot dismiss over 1 million cases in a single day that was reported on Monday by Johns Hopkins. You cannot dismiss over 800 and some odd thousand people who died in this country as a result of the soup sandwich handling of this pandemic by the powers that be.
Brother Mac, you let me jump in there, because they're screaming at me in the chat. I'm sorry, I missed it. I was getting ready to tell Georgia bye, but Georgia's already gone. Sorry, folks, I wasn't looking at the screen. Let's just run the Like It or Not intro, because our sister Rebecca Azor is in the house. We've been holding that intro because we don't play it until she's here. So like it or not, just the intro, David. Like it or not, it's about to go down.
Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon starts now.
Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to Like It or Not, where we're free to tell the truth
and not care who doesn't like it. Good morning, Dr. Mac. How are you?
You know, in the game.
How long you been waiting, sis? I'm so sorry.
Yeah, a minute. So no problem with it, though. No issue with it. But when we're waiting a minute, it's okay to just bring me on. We don't have to wait for the intro to play. You know, everybody knows, you know what I'm saying, Like It or Not with Benjamin Dixon, because that's what that intro says. It doesn't say with Rebecca, or it says with Benjamin Dixon. So we ain't really waiting on that. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not really waiting on that intro. But good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing good on this good Thursday. Missing Bubba. He's not feeling well today, so lay hands on him, y'all. Yeah.
Stretch your hands out to this. We so extra. Rebecca, you're looking fabulous as ever. And you came in. I thought you would be azoring a little bit longer. My fault. I just call myself just kind of filibustering.
It's 2022. She's been on time this week.
We don't. You've been and we need to get rid of the filibuster in the first place. So I'm going to stop filibustering for you, and we need those folks in DC to stop filibustering voting rights, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So, Brother Mac, thank you for hanging out with us as long as you always do. We've been missing you, man. Glad to have you back in the South.
Look, I'm in the presence of the Queen. I'm here. Come on, Queen. Do what you do.
Listen, Dr. Carl Mack, I just want to tell you, yesterday, I ain't like that you dropped off without saying hello and goodbye. So you just left, and then I was just like, well, where he at? Why he not saying hello? Why he not saying goodbye? Your good morning queen, usually gets me a pep in my step, and I'll be ready for the world. I'll be ready for
Hey, what Otis Redding say? They want that little rough voice. They need it every now and then. They need that rough voice in the morning to get them going.
Trust and believe. I am not going to commit such an act again, because that would be an act of treason to leave without acknowledging the Queen.
That's right.
Now, as far as acknowledgement goes, even though the Queen said we don't have to play the intro, the pomp and circumstances to announce the arrival of the Queen is mandatory.
You guys kill me. This, you see what I'm saying? That right there allows me to get ready for the day, right? It makes me feel like, okay, you know what? I am that. I will be that. I am that. I will walk in that. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Mac. That makes me see. This is the kind of stuff that we need in the morning when we're saying we want to be motivated and we're listening to all these great things. But it's great to have that from your friends and family who push you and make you feel great. Start your day off amazing. So thank you. See, I don't like when you leave and you don't give that love. I don't like that. It don't feel right.
Will not happen again, Queen. Shall not happen again.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
I feel like a third will.
You are.
I was gonna say, you definitely are, Ben. You are. You are.
Thank you, David. David, you already know. David, do it.
Hey, Queen, I'm gonna tell you right now, Queen. You know, when we get off the air, I'm gonna put Ben through an extensive training session to take him from court jester to knight, so that he can kneel when the Queen comes in.
Thank you. Because he can't wait to be like, here she go. Rebecca was azoring again. Here, Rebecca. And there I was doing work this week.
Yeah, all of a sudden trying to use your name as a verb. We're not gonna have it. We're not gonna be having that.
Hello, good morning.
She went along with it, so I was just gonna go with it. I was waiting for her to say, "Hell no, you ain't gonna turn my name into a verb." But
this is what
you
she
see.
did,
Men get away. Men get away with whatever you let them get away with, Rebecca. I guess. I guess I'm not gonna say you're
gonna take you to school on that. You know,
he been to woodshed. I know.
He gonna school you on that though, Ben. You know, you see, he a little seasoned. You know, and he gonna school you on that. And then we're gonna see how the rest of this season 2022 of Like It or Not goes forward.
He said we'll cry. I'm gonna cry in the curtain closet. You know what's pitiful? You know what's crazy? That's crazy is being the person who built all this, being the butt of at the end of the day, I'm the butt of everybody's jokes, whether it be James, it'll be Rebecca, but it's in the audience, just random people in the audience be clowning me about my curtains because I'm stuck in the closet.
So being that you were a man of the cloth and I am a Sunday school dropout, before you start whining about being the butt of everything, just remember biblically what was stated. To whom much is given,
yes,
much
to whom much who must be taken. And you take these ass whoopings that we give.
Come on, man.
And you take them with pleasure.
Hey, man.
Hallelujah.
Hey, that's actually scriptural. For I reckon the sufferings of this present moment are not worthy to be compared to the glory that shall be revealed in us. But I'm not much of a man of the. I'm a former. You watched the movie Contact, where the Matthew McConaughey character said, "I'm a man of the cloth," or "I was a man of the cloth." I just didn't have the how did it go? He said, I had the man part right. I didn't have the cloth part right. So
when I hear white men are saying I'm a man of the cloth, it gives me KKK. Honestly, straight up KKK. So I just want to put that out there. Just thought of that's it.
She is the queen.
Rebecca, you look like you are living fabulously there in New York.
Am I in New York? Well, you know what?
We're gonna make you from New York because your mayor, Eric Adams, is tripping.
And I used to live in New York, and I thought that the people of New York would want something better. Their leadership has not been, their leadership there has been much of how. I don't want to say that either. Leadership there has not been great example. It has not been clearly. I mean, even when they tried to make the governor, the former governor Cuomo, the president because of how he was handling COVID-19 for them 2 days. Meanwhile, everybody running rampant with COVID, and he was hiding them numbers. Remember that? Yeah, but we don't want to talk about that right now. What I do want to talk about is this current mayor that they just elected, right? Who just, he's nearly new, like our president, new, but they ain't really new. Still know some things, need to be able to be held accountable. New, yes. This mayor used his own mouth, black man, told them people, called those folks low-skilled workers, those folks being the essential workers, people who are working at the donut shops, though, the people who are working at those Starbucks, people who are working at some of these places that can be actually closed down to allow the community, to allow the state, to allow that area, especially in New York City, NYC, those boroughs, to heal, get the numbers down for COVID, and probably get a stipend meanwhile while they're staying at home, right? Encourage the folks to go and what they say, get the jab, because saying get the jab is like a curse word, but encourage those folks to go get vaccinated, figure out areas where they can get vaccinated, figure out places where they can get tested. This is what he shouldn't be talking about. But for him, what is it? Economy. It's money over people always. And we see that in his statements and his drive to say, hey, we're not closing down. We can't close down. It's un-American to close down. Our low-skilled workers, and it's like, sir, hold on. He talked about when he was in college and he worked at some pizza shop and how he was an essential worker in that time. My guy, we're in the middle of a pandemic. back in when you were in college. I don't know what was happening that was so major for you in that time. What was it? Loans, right? We got those on top of the pandemic. Amen. So let's take a listen as to what the NYC mayor said.
I'm still getting my salary to come in. I'm still getting my salary. Then you are not helping those New Yorkers that need us to come in. So I want my businesses in this city to come up with a closer deadline and say we're going to start placing our toe back in the water, come in for 2 days, for 3 days, and then let's get the city back up and operating.
But to say we're just going to revisit this in April, that's too long for you.
It's, you know, January, February, March, April, 4 months of not having this business patronized, not having a restaurant patronized, not having business travelers come here to the city to go to our hotels. That is going to be devastating for our economy. And I don't know if my businesses are sharing with their employees. You are part of the ecosystem of this city. My low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work in Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have the academic skills to sit in the corner
Academic
office.
skills, praise God.
They need this. We are in this together.
You're listening correctly.
And we should be saying to ourselves, if I remotely do my job, then that stock clerk is not going to be able to have the business he deserves. That's what I need us to understand. This is not a separate thing. To get through the ecosystem of this city, my low-skilled workers, my cooks, my dishwashers, my messengers, my shoe shine people, those who work in Dunkin' Donuts, they don't have the academic skills to sit in the corner office. They need this. We are in this together. And we should be saying to ourselves, if I remotely do my job, then that stock clerk is not going to be able to have the business he deserves. That's what I need us to understand. This is not a separate thing. To get through this, we have to get through this together. I need them to shorten the span.
That's some twisted propaganda right there.
Yeah, they don't have the academic skills to work in a corner office. Mind you, a lot of them do have the academic skills. A lot of us literally have graduated and have been scrubbing toilets, working at Dunkin' Donuts on the side to make some money. A lot of us have, excuse me, what does that even mean? Who is this? Is this your king, NYC?
And he thinks he got a little Brooklyn accent. Like, dude, you are not. And he talked about having swag and stuff. You're a cornball, bro. If you are a cornball, it could January, February, March, April.
Right. Hey, Queen Ben, the thing that is so absolutely, I lost it. He's talking about academic skills, and he has to use his fingers to realize that April is 4 months.
Hey,
KFC,
he really did.
Wait, put that back up. KFC. Dude is wearing a hoodie with a tie. Come on, fam.
It's terrible. That's how you know he literally pulled the hoodie out of nowhere. Somebody had, this looks good for you to wear, talking about vaccines. But it's not promoting much. He's trying to be, I don't know. And this is the problem that I have with these leaders. They run on this certain campaign. They say they want to make the community better. They say they want to get these vaccines and stuff, whatever. He's talking about he's pro-vaccines and pro-vaccinations and pro healing the community, during this pandemic. But listen to what he's talking about, and listen how he's downing people who are already suffering in this community in NYC with looking for jobs. Right? That does not mean that you are a low-skilled worker or you lack the academic skills to be in a corner office. Make it make sense for me, please. I need it to make sense for me, because it doesn't. It's disrespecting the people in this community. And it lets me know that he doesn't even know. He doesn't even know his community. And that is problematic. And then for him to just say, listen, it's bad out there, but it ain't that bad out there. If you really want to be, see, what you guys are doing when you say you want people to stay out of work is you're telling those folks who are, not even living paycheck to paycheck, those broke people who are shoe shiners.
Oh, God, why you say that?
Shiners. I can't even really say those two words
that
so fast and quick like that. But he said shoe shiners.
I used to shine shoes.
Ben, you're like 90 though. This is what I'm saying. But who is shining shoes in the middle of the pandemic? Who? Who?
You know, and see, it's not what he's saying when he says un-American. It's not un-American. What is clear about this guy? If you could not see who was making the statement, he's not talking un-American. He is talking like a pure capitalist. I don't care what you have to put at risk. Your life, your health, that of your family. Get in here and let's make this thing work. Now, I guarantee you that if they were to donate his brain to science, you will find that he is suffering from CTE, except taking the pounding of a sport. He's been getting pounded upside his head by his white Republican capitalistic friends.
That's right.
Who have just pushed him out there to say what he's saying.
That's right.
To talk about swag, player, do not confuse the swag of Obama with you. Just because you got the same skin don't make you our kin.
Come
and
on,
it is clear that this brother is so far gone that I must reserve him a room in the Kunta Hotel.
Come on, somebody. We're gonna do a whole musical. We're gonna do a whole Kunta Hotel tag because this brother belongs in it. And I don't care if he's a Democrat. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. You are our Huckleberry because you are going to imbue every negative thing that the Democratic Party does because you are just like Michael Bloomberg. He wants to reinstitute stop and frisk, but he's going to get away with it even better because he's black.
That's what you think. That's what you think. You think he's going to get away with it. He thinks he's going to
get away with it because he's black.
But you trust and believe he going to be mumbling stop and frisk in the lower level of the Kunta Hotel. It ain't happening.
He said on the terrace level, yes. Because listen, he is a former cop. For those of you who don't know, he is a former cop. So I feel like he also walks in that way, talks in that way. But here's my thing about it. When I say that it's very much capitalistic, right? It's very much in that view because since the whole pandemic has started, a lot of these leaders have shed the skin, right? And taken form of full-on assholes who don't give a damn about their people, their constituents, their people, or anything. They're saying, open this community now, open this state up, open this city up right now. Because if you love America like you say you do, we will work together while opening this in the middle of a pandemic as variants are literally creating Geminis every 2 seconds. It's ridiculous. And go ahead.
Queen, I'm sorry, let me not interrupt, but take a look at this clip here. See, when he first came public at this clip, somehow his PR people got behind him. Here we are, we got a spike in the coronavirus, and here you are holding a press in an interview with no mask on. So now he had to double down, put the hoodie on, talking about vaccine and testing, now mask up when he's indoors. But yet, here he is, sitting there in the middle of New York, having an interview with no mask on. So I'm sorry to interrupt you, Queen. The other thing I want to say to you is he's not a leader. He is a person in a leadership position, but by quintessential definition, he is no leader. Proceed, Queen. I apologize.
That's okay. But I say all that to say, when I say this is the American way, because this is what they push out there. They say this is what our state is about. This is what our country is about. This is what our city is about. The greatest city in America, right? Because I don't know why they think NYC is that, but this is what our city is about. This is what our people are about. We get together. So many times during this pandemic, I've seen employers who are leaders, right, to their employees. I've seen them, like managers and supervisors, texting their employees and saying, if you love this company, you'll come in. If you are riding for this company, you will come in during a storm, during a time where there was a spike in virus cases in the office. If you love this company, you will come in during a time where we're all getting hit hard. And while the employees are saying, no, I'm not going to do it, now they're being called things, all types of names like you're not for the company, you're not. And this is what these leaders do. When we're saying that we don't want to go into work, not because we don't want to go into work, but because there is a damn virus out there. We're too close to comfort. I need to make sure that my family is safe. What he's out here trying to put out, listen, we want to make sure the city stays open because that's who we are as a people. That's what the American way is. We come together and we work hard. But like you said, that to me ties right into these politicians and them being like all about capitalism. They don't care about the people for real. They'll mask it under that. Go ahead.
And Queen, to that point, you talked about this loyalty factor that they say that, that the employees should have to the company. And its pure way of working. Capitalism is not loyal to its employees. Capitalism is loyal to the love and making of money.
Come on.
And so trust and believe, when that company gets into a situation where they need to cut something, cutting those employees who have been loyal is one of the first things. I remember when my mother worked at Packard Electric in Clinton, Mississippi. It was a division of General Motors. They would send it, and this is after, when NAFTA was coming into place. They were sending my mother to Mexico to train the Mexicans how to do their job because they were going to pay them a much lower rate. And ultimately, today, that plant is no longer there.
Okay. Wow. Real quick, Brother Matt, could I add something? I talk about this with my mother all the time. Lockheed Martin, at the same time NAFTA was coming into play, Bill Clinton, president of the United States, they got rid of welfare as we knew it, and they hired my mother to go to help institute the welfare to work policy, which eviscerated the safety nets. What they do is they hire Black folks to go out here and do their dirty work, and a lot of them don't even realize what's going on. Me and my mother still we breaking that down now, and how they went into all of the Black communities and got Black mothers to go and get the Black women to overturn welfare as we knew it during the Clinton administration. Same time they were doing that with NAFTA. Look at that.
Money over everything here. And they try to say, well, we got to make sure we're fighting for our country. We got to make sure we're fighting for our cities.
And it was Lockheed Martin who was doing it. It wasn't the federal government. She wasn't getting paid by the federal government. She was getting paid by Lockheed Martin. And you just said, who was paying your mother?
Packard Electric, a division of General Motors.
General Motors.
Remember, it's just, they run some money in your face. They run a check in your face. And it's like, this is enough. It's enough for me to.
And Ben and Queen, even when you look at the banking system, go back, if you can go back and remember when they first introduced this new technology called ATMs.
My God.
And they said, when we, now that we bring these ATMs, they're going to help us. And yes, there's going to be a fee associated with it. But once we collect enough money to offset that, it just makes us more efficient and those fees will go away. Oh, to the contrary, ATMs are like tolls on roads. They promise you that once we collect enough tolls to pay for the building of this road or to pay for the building of this bridge, those tolls will go away. There are very few tolls on bridges and roads that I know have gone away.
They don't ever go away.
Lord knows the fees on ATM machines
shall
never go away.
Hey, Rebecca.
Yes.
How many tolls have you ran on the Florida Turnpike?
You want to talk about the Florida Turnpike? I was going to talk about the Georgia, whatever that's called.
The Speedway.
Let me tell you something.
Man, I'd be like, well, I can't do it as much as I used to. See, back in the day, they didn't have cameras everywhere.
No more.
They got cameras everywhere. They got 30 dozen cameras at every so don't run a toll. But back in the day, before they had all the 1984 cameras everywhere, man, if I was running low, what you supposed to do?
But the money they collecting on these things, I'm gonna tell you right now. During the pandemic, see, some people ain't know you weren't getting charged, but they were still keeping those peach passes where you were reading up on them, but they weren't charging people, but they were allowing them to continuously every month or every week or however they were reading up on their passes. They weren't sending out notices or notes. And me being an experimenter that I am, I said, let me see what it's like to just so I definitely got on that.
Nice shot, Rebecca.
And I said, one time, two times, the whole week, 4-5 months. Praise God for Jesus. I did not get billed. And I'm not saying, that I write it now or anything, but I'm saying at that time. And what's funny, because they kept collecting on people's peach passes without telling them or notifying them that during this time we will not be charged. We're not charging you for taking this, but they were taking them people money anyway. So yeah, as it was brought to my attention, I felt like if I was going to highlight that, it was going to, get me caught. But they're still taking money. That whole idea,
Rebecca is the
like
bougiest
idea.
revolutionary I ever met in my life.
It's greedy. They steal money from you. They put it out as, oh, this is going to help you. This system is going to be something that we're taking for savings accounts at those main corporate banks. Those savings accounts. That's what we're going to do. You just put your money in the savings account. Here's the thing: we're going to take that money out of your savings account and we're going to use it.
That's right.
So you're saving it for us to use it for other people to borrow for the loans that they're going to come here and take.
There you go.
Okay. So it's very systemic and it doesn't help you. It really breaks you. And all they want to do is take money from you. And as soon as they're losing any type of money, that's not really affecting them in any way. Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, all those people who are talking about, oh, poor me, I gotta pay God knows how much in these taxes, it's messing me up, but still got so much money they're not gonna know what to do with after they're dead, because where's it gonna go? But these people are gonna complain and say, we cannot afford to pay you 10 cents more. We can't afford to do those things. Well, they're stealing from you.
And Queen, the same thing. Remember what happened in the airline industry. At one time you could check as many bags as you want. But all of a sudden you got a spike in fuel and airlines got caught off guard, with the exception of Southwest, because Southwest bought futures within the fuel system, which means that when they bought their fuel, they bought it at that price
and locked it
going forward. So it locked them in. So that's why Southwest Airlines was saying bags fly free. Everybody else got caught off guard. So what used to be, we're going to charge you for these bags. But then when things come under control again, those fees will go away. Oh no, now they're mainstay. And heaven forbid you fly somebody like Spirit, which charge you for the air you breathe. But again, all of this to say is that now juxtapose everything that we're talking about with what the swagless,
put that
elected mayor of New York. Now juxtapose all of this about corporate greed up against the fact that we are in a pandemic.
Put that man back on screen.
And in the one city that is called the greatest city in the world because of Wall Street, amongst other things. Now in this city where we've seen the pandemic have an absolute devastating impact, when Governor Cuomo was there and we kept seeing the death tolls rise. Now you got this swagless man walking out
cornball ass
about low-skilled workers and how important it is to get things back into play with just reckless abandonment, no care at all about the people that he is supposed to be there to serve.
This is actually perfect. Can I be honest with you? This is actually going to work out for us quite well, because he just got elected. He's going to be our Huckleberry for some time to come, because he represents that exact faction in our community, in the Black community.
But is that the same man? Sorry, Ben.
It is. Because they know how to code switch. I was about to do a long one of these days. I'll do a story about Transformers and how it relates to this, but I'll say that for another day. They know how to code switch. He switched, and you said it, Brother Mac. You said somebody got with him in PR, and he switched. He put on a mask and he put on a hoodie, and now all of a sudden he's relatable because he's talking about swag. And he's exactly the kind of that's what they think. That's what they think, right? They're trying to present him as somebody who's relatable because he's saying the word swag. Nobody. At the end of the day, he represents that managerial class in the Black community that's more than happy to do the bidding of white supremacy. Because white supremacy is doing the bidding of capitalism. As long as they get their money, that man on your screen right now don't give a damn how many Black men he gonna lock up over the next 4 years.
I'm gonna tell you this, Ben. I need you to look at Eric Adams this way. This is your male version of Omarosa under Trump.
You were thinking Omarosa. I was thinking Kamala Harris, but I mean, both of them come from these backgrounds. All of this good stuff. But
where's the DJ? We got to go to break.
I ain't even know. You see, I ain't never scared. But here's the thing. let's go back to the low skilled workers before we head to break real quick. Low skilled workers are those that are walking all around him right now, right? As he's speaking behind him, or as he's speaking, but behind him are low skilled workers. These are people who, and these are who he refers to as low skilled workers. They lack the academic skills, right? But these are people who have degrees. Meanwhile, he's counting on his fingers, and they need corner offices to be, because it's hierarchy. Whoa. So they need corner offices to be upheld. What? This does not look appropriate.
What is this clip, David?
It's giving. We need to call the police on him.
It's a clip of him holding a doll. That's terrifying.
It's giving predator. But anywho,
go ahead, Rebecca.
But no, honestly, while he's saying all of that, it's sad that like him not knowing that majority of the people that live in New York City actually have like degrees on top of degrees. I was one of those people who used to live in New York City who had 2 degrees at the time, and I was working and not being able to live at all. Let alone work in the corner office, because not even the offices had enough space to have corner offices over there. So those surrounding businesses that
Can
I was
tell you who the most
for.
incompetent people really are, Rebecca? Yeah, because it's you right. You said it's the people around him, but you are so much righter than you know. The Democratic consultant class are the most incompetent, non-email knowing how to write, most video ridiculous editing, just piss poor garbage, losing every election. They can have $100 million and lose an election, but notice who they let win. Right. The Democratic consultants. Who do they let win? Eric Adams.
Oh, wait a minute, Ben Queen. David, can you take that clip back to where he was with the doll?
It says he did a clip on where to see.
Skills. Look at the game. Go look at the game.
He's showing where your kids may hide drugs.
He's got the game of Uno.
Wait, what's wrong with Uno? What's wrong with Uno?
Ben, why do you have Uno cards
What's
ready
wrong
to
with
go?
Uno?
Because I don't understand why that is. It's very strange.
Why did I have them in my hand and it's just like magic?
You had them yesterday, Ben. I seen them in your hand yesterday as well. And I wanted to question why they were so readily available. I didn't know why you had them. Why do you have them in your hand? Why do you have them there?
Because I'm a Disney dad. Because I play Uno with my kids. As soon as I'm done speaking truth to power, I'm going to play Uno with my kids.
We all can enjoy the game of Uno. But listen, if I'm going to get on TV to potentially a worldwide audience to talk about my academic skills, trust and believe, I'm going to have some more cerebral type games up there than Uno.
Don't play Uno now. Especially when
he up there counting with his fingers. January, February.
Nah, but Uno is very strategic. Don't play, because I played with some Uno and it gets crazy. It gets crazy when you drop that draw 4 and it gets crazy. You don't know how to count no more.
Queen, I'm so mad that I have Uno cards in my hand.
I get that, Queen. But when my dear 8-year-old son is whooping up on me, I ain't really calling it so strategic when it's just the luck of the draw the card.
Wait. Here I got to test. Yes, I do play chess when they are 15. Do you do stack? Do you stack, like you match the 4 with the the red 4? With
Everybody got different rules. Black folks make up rules every day.
Yeah. Now I'm trying to see whose rules y'all play by.
I am a stacker.
You're a stacker.
You know
I'm a stacker.
I know it's disrespectful. I do a 4 on top of a 2. I tell you to draw 6 right now in front of my face, and just that's it.
I made my 3-year-old draw 14 one time.
That's terrible.
I will stack them draw 4 cards. I got like 3 of them in my hand. You draw 12.
You see? So there's some black. It must be a black thing.
We don't take no. We have no mercy on our kids when it comes to Uno. I'm sorry.
Black folks are always making up rules too.
Oh my goodness!
And then Uno puts out on Twitter saying that's not a rule. The black people say, "Well, how you
the hell you gonna tell us what the rules is?"
They say, "Well, how you gonna tell us how to play Uno?"
We really did Black Twitter shut Uno up. We like, no, the hell yeah. The people who created the game. The people who created the game, black people, came around and played the game better and told y'all to shut up.
Right.
Yep. Have a seat.
So listen, the only point that I'm making is that given how we can twist and turn and do all we want to do, if this guy wants to have the audacity to get in and start talking about academic skills, and in order to realize that the month of April is 4 months away and he's got to use his fingers, it reminds me of when I was a child and I was, learning math. The first thing my mom and dad told me, don't you use your fingers. You calculate
my
that in your
dad.
head. And what does this guy go, you talking about April, January, February?
He had to remind himself how long that was.
Shout out to DJ Exclusive in the chat room saying, Rebecca, it's draw 4, not draw. Well, there's a draw 2 in there too.
There is.
I do a whole bunch of draw 2s.
Yeah, what you talking about?
Yeah, but good morning,
no,
DJ
you're right,
Exclusive. Hope you're
Dr.
feeling
Mac,
better, brother.
the Dr. Mac, but at the same time, I am somebody who counts with my claws. So I too, because numbers usually they tangle me up. They trip me up a little bit. But
Listen.
For you to be a leader talking about people with low skills and all that stuff, meanwhile you counting on your hands, I don't understand. And while you sit in your corner office talking about you're paid on salary, but you don't have to show up. You showed up today because your PR person told you it would be a good look. Meanwhile, people are actually having to go to work to make $1. Stop playing with the people.
That's right.
Stop disrespecting the people.
That's right.
I get you. Yeah. And the queen has spoken.
That's it. Enough said. We have about 7 minutes before the end of the hour. Tomorrow on Friday, we're going to be joined by Professor Jared Ball and Kalungi Changa. Now, y'all know, I love this brother. I've known this brother for years, but he forgives me because I can't pronounce nobody's names if it has more than 2 syllables. They'll be joining us tomorrow for Freedom All Friday, America's Political Prisoners. And no, they got the floor. So whatever they bring, and we're going to talk about it, like it or not.
It's going to be hot. Are you going to be here, Dr. Mac, tomorrow?
The queen has requested my presence. I shall.
Because that's going to be a hot show.
It always is
a hot show.
Me and Professor Ball always like me and Professor Ball. Iron sharpens iron. That's all I can say. Remember the episode he was talking about?
They're like, well, I was the educator who, and I was the educator.
No. It's more like
was the educator who.
No, Queen and Ben. I can assure you that tomorrow I will take the position of student and learn from such talented brothers and their wisdom.
I'm gonna be right behind you. Look, writing notes, because it's always a good time. It's always it's like the same way I feel with you guys on the show. It's gonna be the same way tomorrow, just with more talented brothers. You guys all together. It's gonna be a great explosion of it's gonna be school. So everybody, you make sure you have your notepads. It's gonna be a good time tomorrow.
And if
Ben, I think we could classify tomorrow as the potential of IBs. A gathering of intellectual barbarians.
I love that.
Intellectual barbarians. The Brotherhood of Intellectual Well, no gender. We ain't worried about that, but I like it. Intellectual barbarians. There was something else. Now you made me forget. That was such a good point, Brother Mac. Damn it. I forgot. There's something else I need to announce, but it'll come to me.
Well, we'll be intellectual barbarians under the guidance of
yes.
Because I ain't gonna be. I'm gonna just be like, go ahead, Ben. All right, Ben.
Now, Rebecca. Now, listen. All jokes aside, the reason I put up with so much azoring from Rebecca Azor is because she's high key one of the most brilliant and the bougiest revolutionaries out here. So don't let her fool y'all. She's a brilliant and bougie revolutionary.
Bougie on a budget. God has been good to me. He's been good for me. I was thinking about this. 2 years ago, I wasn't able to even, and I know I don't like living paycheck to paycheck, no, but I was able to change my perspective right before the change into the new year. I said, you know what, Lord, help me see this last year in a different way than what I was feeling it as, because it wasn't terrible, right? So I said to myself, so look at it like this. You were able to pay each and every bill on time.
Come on.
You know how rare that is?
Yeah,
that's a rare thing for the common American to pay your bill on time and not have it on and not have it on some kind of scheduled payments or whatever. Each and every my apartment, my car note, my insurance, all 3 of my insurances, my health and my car insurance, everything, my water bill, because it's all kinds of bills, light bill, me being able to take care of my family in Florida. All in their bills. So everything has been aligned, even though it was paycheck to paycheck. I am grateful that I was able to pay my bills. But this year, on God,
come on, somebody.
It's going to be paying my bills and making sure I stack up in a savings account with an institution that doesn't abuse my money. That doesn't abuse me and steal money from me. So praise God for Jesus, because I ain't going to be the one that had money under the mattress. I want to make sure that I have it to give when necessary, and you know what I'm saying? Like if something happens to your vehicle, you could, pull out that $500 and be like, no problem. I know I need this fixed. here you go. Instead of
That's
being
right.
like, gosh, things happen. I got to move this over here. Got to make sure. Okay, I got to call these people and let them know. So I had to change my perspective on that though. But yes, bougie on the budget. I love being bougie on the budget.
Brilliant, bougie revolutionary that is Rebecca
I'll
Zor. I
take it
remember what
all.
it was, Brother Mac. I need a PNG. I want an updated PNG image of you. You sent me the one that is on your Black Heritage calendar that's right there behind you. Send us a new one, because just send us a new one, because I don't think the one on that calendar. You look a little bit older. You look so much younger now.
Yeah, you looking younger these days. What did 20 look? What did 20?
Look at that. Yeah, he looks.
That is not that man.
That's not
Look,
Dr. Mac right
I'm
there.
saying about what's his name. That is not that man.
Right.
Thank you, David. I need a new
this
picture.
is what I'm thinking. I'm thinking being like right now in my moment of humility, sitting amongst the queen. Just take a screenshot of me. You don't mind. Put my mug up there.
Yeah. Look, wait a minute. How they do. Take a nice screenshot of Dr. Mac, and y'all know how y'all do.
How about this one here?
I thought he was about to lift up the shirt.
Ben, why you always trying to see Dr. Mac 6? Leave it alone.
Because it's inspiring. It's inspiring. Now, I'm going in the wrong direction right now. I'm going up. But don't get me wrong. I've been looking at his six pack since he's been on. I'm going back down. I'm going back down. Listen, the best way for me that I ever lost weight was watching football. You can't watch those men out there looking as good as they do and want to just sit around. Actually, I guess a lot of men do just sit around and not. Anyway, I'm thinking
God has did something with men. I don't really know if I like that. I got to talk to him about that. Where men can just literally disappear 4 days. We talked about this yesterday, and they can come back and be like, I just wanted to take a break, and they come back all strong.
Let me take 40 days off so I can get my life back together. I've been in political exile for 60 days. I need to take 40 days off so I can.
Okay, so listen, fam. Just because
camera agrees.
Just because I'm old school, Queen, can you explain to me Kanye West and Dragon Blood?
Well, I don't even know, because now that we're both out on the. What the hell is Kanye West and Dragon Blood? It might be something very, very, very strange. I talked about Kanye West already being real culty, so maybe the Dragon Blood is the Jesus juice. I don't know.
Okay, hey Mark, I'm gonna just take that as, like maybe that's like my spinach to Popeye.
Okay, Mark. Explain yourself.
Because I never heard of the Dragon Blood thing.
But I'm gonna take it to the good.
That's it. So actually, one last thing I want to ask you: what happened in hey Google? What happened on December 6th in Black history?
Okay, let me get them there. Hey Google, what happened on December 6th in Black history?
On December 6, 1865, Georgia became the 27th of 36 states to ratify the proposal, which became the 13th Amendment of the Constitution of the United States, thus abolishing slavery. On January 31, 1865, 2/3 of the Congress approved the proposal, finally making slavery illegal throughout the United States. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4 calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Karl Mack.
Keep me up, David. Keep me up. Brother Mack, and your recommendation for that day is Black Freedom and Economic Day.
Yeah, because see, again, if we go back and remember what this country did last year, because many of us don't know, and this country made Juneteenth a national holiday and said that this day represents the end of America's original sin. Well, no, because after June 19th, 1865, there were still over 225,000 Black folks still enslaved. And chattel slavery did not come to an end in this country until December 6, 1865, when Georgia became the 27th state to ratify the 13th Amendment. So what I'm saying is, in honor of the end of America's original sin, that being chattel slavery, not any other form of oppression, prison, and the likes. I'm talking chattel slavery. I'm saying that on December 6th, for the rest of my natural life, I will not shop with any other business outside of a Black-owned business. I'm not spending 1 penny with any other business. I don't care if you're Hispanic, Native American. I love you, my brothers and sisters. But on December 6th, I'm only spending money with Black-owned businesses.
Yeah.
Only spending money with our folks on that.
Brother Mac, because I'm a marketer and because you and I have been talking about Black Freedom and Economic Day so extensively, and it just dawned on me. We have before us, America has before it 2 days for it to consider which way are you going? Insurrection Day, January 6th, or Liberation Day, Black Freedom and Economic Day, December 6th.
That is not a choice for me.
No, not for you, bro. Right. For America. White supremacy. This empire is trying to decide whether or not it's going to follow Donald Trump and those fools who marched up the steps of the Capitol on January 6th, when it needs to be following Black folks who have been liberated and been saving this country, been running this empire. We've been running the digits. We've been running their logistics. We've been driving their trucks. We've been cleaning their offices. We've been being their personal assistants. We've been being their executives. We've been their managers. We have managed this empire more efficiently than any of their low-skilled Neanderthals have ever done it, and they need to decide: are they coming with Black folks, or are they going to stick with January 6th insurrection?
Here's my thoughts to that. I don't need America to come with me on December 6th.
That's right.
See,
I feel that.
If Black folk want to show America the power of our spending money, our collective resources,
we do it for ourselves.
All the Black folks in this country only spend money with Black-owned businesses for just one day.
I like
Trust
that.
and believe. The empire known as America will clearly recognize and take notice. So I don't need the mercenary approach. I need the martyr approach. I need us to embrace us. Now, America can do what the hell she wants to about January 6th. We recognize what happened. But on December 6th, I don't care if America, I don't care.
Mac, you just be messing up. Wait, man, listen, bro, Mac, you messing up my sermon. You know, messed up my sermon. Listen, you got January 6th and you got December 6th. The juxtaposition is what I want y'all to see for yourselves.
But here go,
Brother Mac don't need nobody white money.
Was like, I don't give a.
That don't need no white folk money.
I don't care what they doing out there.
Brother Mac, like, Black. Listen, I don't need none of these saltines dollars.
Don't need a penny from them. All we ever need is for the collective.
Big Black.
To now recognize the power that is residing within our wallets and spread the wealth amongst our people.
Amen.
Black Freedom and Economic Day, December 6th, every year.
I can't wait for next month because it's gonna be I mean it's blackly black on here all the time.
Oh my God.
And
how black is next month gonna be?
It's black, but next month I need David, if we're looking at me, because you are, I need us to definitely have the whole setup in all of it. Like it needs to be in garb.
Ooh, we need to do what Nancy Pelosi and them did
on this whole show.
We need the kente cloth.
We need everything. We need all of it. But we got to make sure that we have the facts correct.
I already got the giraffes.
It's not going to be the two little facts that, you know what I'm saying, Dr. Martin Luther King, it ain't going to be Malcolm X, you know, Coretta Scott. It's going to be more than that because we have
I can't deal with y'all.
The Black History man himself.
No,
so
literally,
be really nice.
Literally, the man himself. Literally. When you check your Hey Google at the end of every entry for Black History, they say Dr. Karl Mack.
Yeah, because if I say it to this device, I don't think I'm gonna get that.
They're gonna give you the Candace Owen history with that one.
Hey, let's do this on a Queen. What is your birthday?
My birthday is on May 15th.
Hey, Google. What happened on May 15th in Black history?
On May 15, 1963, singer and Chicago native Quincy Jones was nominated for 2 Grammy Awards, Best Original Jazz Composition and Best Performance by an Orchestra, for Dancing. Throughout his 60-plus year career, Jones has received 80 Grammy nominations, currently tied with Jay-Z for the most all-time, and he has won the coveted award 28 times, not including his 3 special Grammys. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4 calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Karl Mack.
So Queen.
It's Dr. Mack's face waiting for like, you gonna say my name. You better
Put some
say
respect
my name.
on my name. Are we finished? We done. wait, I'm curious. Hey, Rebecca, that's right up your alley because Quiet as It's Kept.
There you go.
You a musician.
I love that though. That's so special. Like, first of all, it just educated me. Secondly, I love that that's a moment in history with me and Quincy, and the fact that Quincy is tied with Jay-Z, but the fact that he made history. We're talking about Quincy here. And
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I love that. I love that a lot.
That's what I do, Queen. I made it for you. I made it for the Queen.
What happened on June 5th, if you don't mind me asking?
Hey, Google, what happened on June 5th in Black history?
On June 5, 1956, a federal court ruled in Browder versus Gale that Alabama's racial segregation laws for buses were unconstitutional. The ruling signaled the beginning of the end of the 381-day Montgomery bus boycott. Alabama chose to appeal the decision to the U.S. Supreme Court but was unsuccessful. The boycott officially ended on December 20, 1956, when the city of Montgomery passed an ordinance stating blacks could sit anywhere they wanted. Adapted from Black Heritage Day 4th calendar by author, lecturer, and civil rights activist Dr. Karl Mack.
I love that.
There you go, Brother Ben.
Wow. Yeah, I would recommend, as my camera went out, David, this is a good place. And Rebecca, you know me, I like to just grab control of the show and call it and say it's over when I'm done. I felt that anointing coming. I was going to end the whole show if you want to continue. But honestly, I think everybody needs to look up their birthday on that calendar, Brother Mac. Because what that just said was a little too close to home.
Well, you know what, Brother Ben, I'll say this, is that, when we come on, if some of our folks who are watching, you send us in your birthday and we'll ask and we shall receive.
I like that. What happened? Yeah.
Hey, I like that. Like it or not. I like that.
Yo, this is a dope show. Become a patron. Patreon.com/like it or not, or patreon.com/the BPD show. Support us however you want to support us. Rebecca, it sounds like we are going to go to a little bit of after party.
Yeah, I have nothing else left, but
no. Hey, I don't like to. Can we go, Queen? Can we be dismissed?
Yes,
Queen?
I think it's Thursday. We can go. I'm going to give you guys a break on today. We're going to head out. Tomorrow we will have the whole crew, so it's going to be a little thick on here. But we're going to have the whole crew. So guys, look forward to that. Again, if you have not become a Patreon, we have been giving you exclusive content. We're getting beat up by our producer in the background because of it. But we've been giving you guys exclusive content. And if you want to become a Patreon, because this is usually for the patrons, you can definitely join us, become a Patreon today at patreon.com/like it or not. Again, patreon.com/like it or not. I love you guys. Mean it. Go and sin no more.
Go and be great in your lavender. All right, Brother Mac. Thanks so much, man. We see everybody tomorrow. All right, David.
Good morning, people. Y'all know who it is. Y'all know the voice. Y'all know the sound. It's your boy James Williams, DJ Exclusive, in the building. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned, man. We got one coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Little baddie, cashing big checks. I bought the whole block out. Now that's a big flex.
No, sir, it is
Peeping out my
in the
Uber
flesh.
window like
Blue
what
shirt
sex.
and all. Good
Got
morning.
new levels and new devils out the wazoo. Ain't no worries, life gets better when you find you. And if you mind you, peace will abide and hide you
Shout out to
until it's time
Georgia
to
boy,
start
Pastor Anthony
So live it
Galloway,
up,
man.
we grown,
Good to
ain't got
see
no
y'all as
curfew.
usual.
Who brought the bad vibes? Tell that bitch move. Walking all in my inner, that's a bitch move. Press that I arrive.
Laura
glad that I
Strada, good morning.
survived.
KFC, Jeremiah, Lily, Promises Manifested. Showsty, what's going on? Tiger, what's going on, Tiger? Bunny Rabbit, I'm so high. Okay, buddy. Juanita, good morning. Jonathan Esther, on and it goes. Nicholas, good morning. Movie. Hey, Lou, good morning. Shay, good morning to you. Sophia Williams, good morning.
And soon you will find a pretty soul that needs more shine.
Waterstones, good morning. Kareem Ransom, good morning. Courtney the SLP, good morning to you. You still sounding loud today?
1, 2, mean right hook.
Okay. Marsha Reese, good morning. Miss Nuru, Silk City Socialist. Neil Potts, Christopher Shaw, good morning. Vincent Melanie Dennis, Esther Brochin, Shelby Hall, Nat. Hey, what's going on, sister? Afraid not to move. S. Tickles. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Make sure you get your coffee, your tea, your drinks, whatever it is you need to get your morning started, y'all. Y'all stay tuned. We got one coming up next on the Benjamin Dixon Show.
Say a prayer tonight to keep your soul tight.
And also that means Benjamin Dixon can't come through. Y'all get 30 minutes of yours.